holy shit, what a fucking player Myles Lewis-Skelly is.
Hmm.
18 years old, and highest compliment I can give him is that he just does not play like it.
Hmm.
He is so unbelievably press resistant. He has such a wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. Very unusual for us to be recording the day after an Arsenal game, but here we are. This is your host, Mitch. I am back just like Arsenal are. It's coincided, and they've definitely been related to each other, 100%. But I'm back and hosting today's edition with Coach. Hi, Coach. How are you?
I am good. I'm glad to have my sixth favorite white person back on the pod. So
Hey, I'm just thrilled to be in the top 10, like
yeah,
that's good to hear for me.
yeah. I mean, I only like
Uh
six white people, so there's that as well. So
okay, so I am last. Okay, I didn't need that asterisk. I could have just like been happy with like, oh, I'm coach's sixth favorite white person and just like slept easy at night. But now I have to like earn my way up again, and that's starting with
yeah, it's
me
gonna be
hosting
really
today's
hard.
podcast and being back.
It's gonna be really hard because the top five consists of people like Arsene Wenger.
Oh
Uh,
shit, yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be hard, man. Arsene Wenger, I suppose. Ben White. Yeah,
Yeah.
the competition's hard, man.
Hey, but okay, but like, I have something in common with Ben White. Of we've both gone MIA over the last few months.
That is true. And Ben White, from what we know, is actually back in training. He trained today.
This is lovely to hear. I've
Yeah,
been missing Benny Blanco. It's going to be very very nice to have him back.
yeah.
Um, so before we get into the North London Derby, I want to
Which we
do a
won, by the
quick,
way. Let's
which
point
we
that out.
won by the way. Absolutely, we got a nice season sweep of Tottenham. Uh, Just wanted to make sure everyone is following our Instagram, our Twitter, our Blue Sky. Check out Coach's Corner, his instant reaction from the Arsenal game yesterday, since we aren't getting this podcast out on time.
Yeah.
Should have a United pod out now for their win over Southampton. Just make sure you're checking out all the shit that we are releasing here in the Plantain verse.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean, United still stink, by the way, just so you know. Fuck
yeah,
them.
don't let Amad Diallo fool any of you. They are a bad soccer team. All
Yeah.
right, well, let's get into our lovely little win yesterday. We are going to start out with the lineup. Um, we our last it's weird time of year where we like played a FA Cup game on a weekend where I
Mhm.
think it just throws everything off. Where like it's been a full week and a half since we had played a league match.
Yeah.
Did you have any expectations for our lineup going into this game?
Um, I knew Sterling would start. 100% knew Sterling would start. I just didn't know what condition everybody else was in. I was genuinely terrified because while I suppose we played most of that game in a rest state because they were down to 10 men. Um, you're still putting in mileage, especially going into extra time. So I was just hoping that nobody was carrying anything, but it's Arsenal. Like we're always carrying something at this point now. So yeah, I knew Sterling would start. And that was about it. For the rest of it, it's gonna be a running theme from front to so I'm back to front of our midfield. Arsenal are as good as it gets, I reckon. And that's what I was thinking. I was hoping, could we have our best midfield out? Yes. Do we have our best defense? Mostly, yes. Okay. Let's just hope the strikers do what they need to do. So yeah, I was that was my expectation. Just no one carrying knocks. Let's get our best players that are fit in midfield and defense, and go from there.
Yeah, I think like Arsenal is not a healthy team right now,
Mm,
but bulk of our issues are within our attack. Like
yeah.
it's like we have four attackers healthy right now, and so it's. I think a lot of the team as of right now kind of picks itself, which is a nice
Mhm.
spot to be in, where we're like slowly getting healthier. But yeah, I completely agree. I think the attack was like the most fluid part of that. Of like, oh, is Martinelli going to start on the right? Is
Mm.
Sterling going to start? Obviously, we saw Sterling. Um, Real quick, I want to ask what you made of Sterling's performance yesterday, since you specifically brought him up in the lineup. Because I feel like he's a player that I saw a lot of differing opinions about
Mhm.
how he performed yesterday. I personally thought, other than the end product,
Mm.
He played pretty well, and I thought he put in a pretty good shift. He like worked really hard. I think he's like gotten our press down. I think
Yeah,
like we have a very good press, but our press is also complex. I feel like it
mm,
takes a while for a player to kind of get into the
absolutely.
groove of like how our press works, especially for a player like Sterling that's played in so many different systems. But I feel like he's finally getting that down, and his like off the ball work is really there now. And the on the ball work might be coming. It's starting to come a little bit more.
Yeah, I think one of the key things with Sterling is fitness and match sharpness. He's got a lot of talent, but he's not one of those players that can be half fit and his talent will just carry him the rest of the way. I just feel like
Hmm.
physically he has to be right for you to see the very, very, very best of Raheem Sterling, and if not, then you're just gonna get a suboptimal product basically. So leading on from his performance against United, which I think was really good, funny enough, for his standards that he set for us, I think that was a good performance. But he faded in that game, and I feel like in this game again he started quite well, um, and he was doing things that obviously not to the level of Bukayo Saka, but he was making those forward runs that are so important to the way we build up on the right hand side because those forward runs open up space for someone else, but it's a passing option. If they time it right, he's through. So he was doing those, but I just feel like he was doing the fundamentals well, but he just faded again. And
Yeah.
that's not his fault. He's literally came back against Newcastle last week. It's literally he's only been back in the team for a week. I think him
Yeah.
and who got injured at the same time? Was it him and Nwaneri got injured at the same time? Or was it him and Saka that got
I
injured at the same time?
don't remember.
I think the same weekend Saka got injured, Sterling what didn't make it into the Crystal Palace squad, I want to say. So yeah, he's actually only been technically fit for like a week, So let's see how he progresses.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I don't know if we could be going into North London Derby on worse form. We're coming off two straight losses in league or in cup competitions,
Hmm.
and I've just kind of been lethargic, and as particularly in our attack, it's looked very labored.
Hmm.
Uh, do you think this was a good time to face Spurs?
Yeah, yeah. I think the key thing here with Arsenal is, and this Arsenal, Arteta's Arsenal is London derbies. We're not trying to fuck around. Like it means a lot to us, and Arteta has it down to a T. Where it's just like I don't care what kind of form we're in, we're gonna turn up for this game. Like we're doing, we're not even playing for us, and it might sound a bit corny and shit, but we're playing for the fans, like genuinely. And I feel like he understands that. Like I'll tell, to most people won't know this, but he really is a traditionalist. He believes strongly in the traditions of this club, like so much so down to even the way he recruits players. Um, so yeah, I think it's a good time. It's always a good time to play Tottenham because they're shit. But like for us, off those two losses, we're reeling, and it's like yeah, North London derby, and these dickheads can't defend. Of course, let's go for it. I don't care if you have to play turning up front. Let's go for it regardless. So yeah, good time, man. Always a good time.
I was talking to a coworker today who's a Spurs fan, and we described it as a very stoppable force versus a very movable object in terms of our attack right now and their defense.
Yeah,
And I guess the stoppable force won.
yeah, yeah.
um, but let's get into the match. We started this match in a very typical way that we have
Hmm.
this season, which is looking good, but it's 0-0.
Hmm. Yeah.
What did you think about our opening?
It was as fast as put it like this that whole first half in general. I think I said it on instant reaction, but it went exactly as expected. I knew we weren't going to let them breathe. I knew that we were going to generate so many openings in and around their box. I knew for a fact that Saliba and Gabriel would be essentially our two defensive midfielders, if you like, in possession, and they'll be the ones recycling the ball and getting it to our midfielders, getting it to our forwards, whatever else, because that's how badly we want to put them away. So I was really pleased. It was positive. It wasn't tepid. It was we're doing the best we can with what we've got with our attack and with our Walking Dead, if you like. That we're doing the best we can, and I was pleased, genuinely pleased.
Yeah, I think. Um, I mean, I haven't been on the pod in a little bit, so anything you would know about how I've been feeling about the club lately is what you've seen on my Blue Sky if
Yeah,
you've been following me, which is this club's kind of broken me in the last month.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
I've
understand it.
been very pessimistic about just like how where we're at and how we're doing,
Mm,
and to see another opening of a game where we look good and don't score was very frustrating.
mm-hmm.
And it really really got to me when Son's goal went in.
And he's doing the little
When
shushing thing, little bastard. Yeah,
Yeah, like
honestly,
it fully rattled me. I was just
yeah,
like, we've been so much better, and then they get a goal on a deflection. And the way that been feeling about our attack is like when that goal went in, I was just like, we're fucked.
yeah.
We're not going to score a goal. We're going to lose this game. It's going to be 5.4 xg to like
Mm,
0.6, and we're going to lose 3-0, and it's going to be horrible. And I'm just going to stop watching Arsenal for the next 2 months because I just can't do this.
mm.
Um, Thankfully, we bounced back from this. But what did you make of the goal? I'm assuming you were not as down at the dumps as I was when that goal
No,
went in.
I'll be honest. I was rattled mainly because I was sitting right above the Tottenham fans, so
Mm,
it was a vacuum when he scored. Basically, it was just the whole stadium was just essentially silent, but you could just it was just booming noise right below me. It was just like, oh, I cannot believe these wankers, honestly. And the fact he went over to our fans to shush us, I was just like, oh yeah, okay. You've probably annoyed us. This is probably the Xhaka versus Trent moment from 2 years ago. You probably annoyed us more than you wanted to. Um, but the goal itself, it came at a time when Arsenal were just dominating. Like we were winning the ball in really good areas, like high up the pitch. It was also whenever they did manage to spring some sort of a counter, we'd win it back straight away. And the one time that they actually progressed was when Saw, I think, carried it really far. And number 5 simply just athletically couldn't deal with him. And they got a corner from that, and that's where they built momentum. And then they got another corner from
yeah.
that, and then they score. And it's very, very ironic that Arsenal have all of this sort of dominance. You know, tactically we're fine, we're perfect, but the final action is where we're lacking, and the ball falls to one of the best finishers one of the best finishers we've ever seen in the league, to be honest. And he scores with his first shot. And it's just like, and Kulusevski had a really good chance before that. It's like, it's typical. It's actually just typical. If Arsenal had Son yesterday, the game is over in the first 30 minutes. You get what I mean? Like, it's one
Yeah.
of those things. So I just feel like, yeah, I could see that coming. But I'm not panicking. I'm very annoyed, but I'm not panicking because Tottenham are dog shit. But yeah, that's how I was feeling at that time. I'm annoyed, but plenty of time to go. And Harvey, what's his name? Not Harvey, the centre back. What's his name? The young one. He's not even a centre back, he's like a centre midfielder. Um,
Oh, the Scandinavian one.
No, the
Uh,
actual young one. Begins with a G. His last name begins with a G. Let me Google this
I
man.
don't bother having Spurs players in my brain. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah, no,
memorize their
I'm
names.
generally the same. I'm generally the same. It's actually like rattling me that I can't remember his name. Gray. That's his name.
Oh, Archie Gray. Yes, they
Archie
got from
Gray.
Leeds. Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, they're playing him centre back. He's 18 years old. He's not really a centre back. Yeah,
Yeah.
we should be okay. Let's just not concede another goal, basically.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, we had a pretty good response to this goal.
Mhm.
Before we get into our goals, we need to talk about when like an NBA player gets sat on their ass,
Hmm.
it's like you have like a little bit of like an argument where it's like, hey, you're playing on flat
Yeah.
ground, you're not wearing cleats. When a soccer player does the full fucking splits because
Mhm.
they get crossed up, that's impressive. And we got to hand it to Leandro Trossard for
Yeah.
just breaking Pedro Porro's ankles in a truly disgusting way.
Yeah. I'm a bit annoyed because of the tension and that I was feeling. I didn't get to fully enjoy it. But honestly, on reflection, it's genuinely one of the most horrific pieces of embarrassment I think I've seen in a very long time. It's probably worse than what Perisic did to Van Dijk last year, the year before. I think this was unreal, and the fact that he was doing it purely for the fact that it's right in front of these Spurs fans. He's trying to be aggressive and shit, and he just makes a complete and utter fool of himself because Trossard treated him like a bit of trash in a trash can.
Yeah, absolutely. And then shortly after, we found a goal, the way that we always do this season. Real quick before we get into the actual goal, there's been like some talk online about like that like the corner that we had that led to
Mm,
it wasn't actually a corner because it went off of Arsenal player.
mm.
I argue with a wall. I don't give a fuck. I do not
Honestly,
fucking
honest to
care.
God, like,
I could not care less. There's like that is just such a little thing that happens all the time in soccer
mm-hmm.
games. Defend better.
Yeah.
I don't know. B, there's so many like things that have gone against us this
Mm-hmm.
year where it's just the ball bouncing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So ball bouncing in that direction and we get given a corner that maybe we weren't supposed to have. Fucking fine. I'm
Absolutely
gonna
fine
take
with me.
that.
Absolutely fine with me.
100%. But on the corner, Rice's delivery on corners is just magical. It's so
It's
fucking good.
Beckham-esque. And I know you probably didn't watch Beckham, but it's Beckham-esque. That's all I can say. That's the only thing I can compare it to. Nobody else I can think of in my time watching football has filled me with so much confidence or dread when they're standing over a corner. It's him and David Beckham. It is something special, honestly. Yeah,
I
and
think if you're Thomas Tuchel, you need to be like watching what Arsenal are doing with Rice and Saka on either
yeah,
side on corner kicks and be like, how can I build a corner behemoth as a national team?
mhm,
Like, you've got two of the best deliveries in the
mhm,
game. Can you get the guys in the box that are going to score? And this
mhm.
is how we get Harry Maguire back in the national team.
I,
Say it with me, folks.
no, I'm with you. Harry Maguire for England is a titan. I have
No,
no argument.
100%.
Harry Maguire needs to be in every England squad. I'm not even a
He's a
trolling
dog.
thing. Yeah,
I'm dead serious when I say Harry Maguire's a dog. I'm not being
yeah,
sarcastic at
yeah.
all.
No, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you on that for real. Like, imagine Harry Maguire attacking a Declan Rice cross. Fuck off, man.
Yeah,
He might, he might, he might get a hat trick.
that's Harry Maguire winning the next World Cup's Golden Boot. Like that's 100%. I think I found the way for England to win the World Cup, and it's just
It's down
money
to
every
the
time.
Jova. That's mental.
Well, what we're picturing right now is basically what Arsenal have with Gabriel,
Yeah.
and I think that all teams need to throw any notions that they have about set piece defending out the fucking window when they face Arsenal. Triple man mark him.
Yeah.
Put the fucking goalkeeper on Gabriel. Don't like let him be one-on-one with your fucking 5'8" center midfielder and let him burn him because he will every fucking time. This 6'3" man is just nimble and gets away from guys. I don't know how it happens, but he finds himself in positions to get his head on the ball so often, and it's truly undefeated. It's time to put Gabriel at striker. It's time to do it.
Honestly, do you know what's so funny? Gabby Jesus' first goal against Palace in the league, it's from open play. It wasn't like broken play from a corner, it's from open play. Big Gabby is in the box and he's setting a screen for Gabby Jesus to score. Like, trust me, it's been spoken about in training. They've considered it because clearly he just wants to score goals. He's like, yeah, I've completed defending now. It's now that time for me to complete strike. But I don't know about you, but when I watch the replays of him scoring goals from corners, it feels like a wildlife documentary. Like it literally feels like I'm watching a lion, yeah. The most fierce lioness, right? Literally just hiding in the bushes and just waiting to pounce on these poor gazelles, right? And there's nothing they can do about it. It's just every time. You watch a replay thinking, why would you even defend? Like, what can you even do about that?
I've been playing like a bunch of like this game called Retro Bowl on your phone where it's just like 8-bit football, American football.
Yeah.
And there's just like some plays in this game where it's just like this is auto 7 yards. Great. Every single time I'm getting 7 yards. And that's what it feels like Arsenal corners are. It's like we're gonna run some routines that are just auto goals. And it's just like we're running the goal play.
Mm-hmm.
And if only we could do that from open play sometimes.
Yeah, that would be great.
We got a nice little open play goal a couple minutes later, courtesy of Leandro Trossard. A very rare moment where Arsenal ran with purpose in transition. And I feel like this is something that we just need to do more often because, hey, we're having problems when there's 10 men behind the ball. Let's take advantage when there isn't.
Mm.
Let's move quickly. We recovered the ball super quick. It got out to Odegaard, who found that ball to Trossard, who had a great finish. Kinsley probably should have done better, but I'm not going to complain about that. I think it was a little bit of a skipped ball.
Mm.
That's a tough one. But we love seeing a transition goal from Arsenal to take the
Yeah.
lead.
Yeah, and again, it's I have a lot of memories of Arsenal, right? And one of the key things that we did so well, so well, is flood the box, especially in transition. Like it looked like an army. It looked like we had 15 players at times because one of our many talented players would have the ball and he'd have about 5 options to pick from because everyone's just flooded the box. We've overloaded them. We've overwhelmed them, kind of thing. And while this goal wasn't like that, it just brought back memories of the fact that it was all positive. 5 wins the ball, and it's like it's a pass at the same time, kind of thing. He's just won it knowing that Odegaard is going to get it regardless. Odegaard has essentially looked at it and said, "Okay, I can't reverse it. It's what it is. What it is. Let's just go into the space." And my favorite thing about Trossard did then is that he didn't take it on and like try to draw Porro into him. He made Porro have to make a decision, kind of thing, and come across to him. He's like, I want to keep going as close to goal as possible. And then the moment I feel like making an action, I'm going to do that. And then the finish, it is what it is. Goalkeeper could have done better. But I suppose my question to you is, with the way we've been finishing recently, I generally do feel like it's only Trossard that I suppose that could have got us out of this funk. Why is it that it's taken him so long to essentially have a moment like this? Because for the life of me, everything else isn't great, but I know his finishing is one of the best around. So what is the problem?
Yeah, I think that's maybe been the most puzzling thing about this drought
Yeah.
is like that our best finisher has not been doing it. I think that everyone in our attack has just kind of got too many touchitis right now,
Mm-hmm.
where they're just not being direct enough. They're not confident enough in what they're doing in their shooting. Which is why like there's a shot later in the game where Declan Rice just like has one, it goes directly at the keeper, and he probably had a pass that
Mm.
like would put someone through on goal. But like I'm not mad about him shooting, man.
Yeah.
I want Arsenal to be shooting more, because you know that's how there's a reason that like one of the criticisms of XG is that it's only calculated when there's a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And the counter argument of that is that you can only score when there's a shot. You
Mm-hmm.
having the ball in the 6 yard box does not matter if
Mm-hmm.
you don't get a shot off. It's not going to account for a goal, which is why the stat is calculated the way it is. So I think that like, you know, it comes with confidence, and I think the entire attack and the entire team has just kind of been low on confidence when it
Yeah.
comes to the final action. And Trossard finally had a moment of like, I'm gonna have one here, and
Yeah.
it went in, and I think he may be back, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I'm hoping that he's gonna bury some demons this weekend against Villa because yeah, it's a good time to score now, with them coming up. Yeah, I was just really pleased with the goal, and what it felt like at the time was, oh, we're probably gonna score about 4 or 5 today, kind of thing.
Spurs tried to gift us 10 goals.
Yeah, basically.
There was a lot of moments in this game, and as we move into the second half, there's a lot of moments where Arsenal could have scored. Like this did not have to be a 2-1. Declan Rice said it in his post-game interview. This could have been 10-1.
Yeah.
And Spurs did not have a shot on goal after the Sun goal. And we had a lot of opportunities that we are just not finishing because we're just not clicking. Like I know Odegaard and Havertz can score goals.
Mhm.
There's just something right now that's just preventing them. It's just a force field that's preventing them from scoring
Yeah.
goals right now.
Yeah, I think you've seen Spider-Man 2, right? The Tobey Maguire one.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember like when he literally was having like a existential crisis and he couldn't get out his web fluid and whatever else? Like,
Yeah, he was like
yeah,
having ED for webs.
yeah, exactly, kind of thing. Like he's still Spider-Man. Like he's still got he's agility and he's he's super strength, all that kind of thing. But the one thing that makes him Spider-Man, he literally just cannot do. that's what I feel like is happening with our attack, but in particular, Odegaard and Havertz. Like, Odegaard had a good game yesterday. He's still doing all the great technical things he can do and shit and whatever
100%.
else. But that final action is bottom half quality. Like, I'm not even going to mince my words. It genuinely is. And it's the same thing with Havertz. We're using him as a battering ram yesterday. He was bringing the ball down, bringing others into play. He was, occupying the centre backs. He made Kinksky, whatever his name is, panic twice. He won the ball in the box twice from a goal, from essentially from like a clearance, whatever what it was. I think he was doing all the things, but that final action completely stinks right now. And I feel like we need a little bit of the same way we got the what's the word I'm looking for? The rubber the green for the Poro corner that wasn't a corner, should I say?
Yeah.
Maybe one of them just needs to shoot. It needs to hit 50 players and the linesman before it goes into the goal. I think
we keep getting goals conceded like that. So why don't we try scoring some goals like that?
Exactly. No, we're on the same page here, and that's what I thought it needs to happen. I don't feel like both their next goals. I'll be very shocked if both their next goals are like absolute bangers or complete, utterly great pieces of score. They're going to be scrappy tap-ins, and that's going to hopefully stop. Like, it's going to hopefully open the valve for the rest to start coming through again. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. So
yeah, 100%. I do feel like this game as a whole is just kind of like a deep breath game for Arsenal, where it's like it's just like, okay, we've broken this bad streak we were on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to winning ways and let's get back to it. It's felt so down in the dumps lately, mostly because it has. But we were like on the same amount of points yesterday that we were at the same point last season.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I
think we have more points. I think we have 3 more points now.
Well, it maybe is now different for where we are now, but prior to the Tottenham game, it was even, which is crazy. Even though it did feel like January, December last year was like a really, really tough time for Arsenal as well. Do you think, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but do you think that this team has the juice to go on a run like they did last year, where we drew 2 games, or we lost. Did we lose to Villa? We lost to Villa.
We lost to Villa.
We lost 1 game, and then we drew to City the entirety of 2024 of last season. Do you think this team has the juice to do another run like that?
I think we do. And I think it will be underpinned by our defense, basically, more than anything. Not our attack essentially pulling us through. Our defense is still really good. I think we've just been unlucky with some of the goals we've conceded, and we need some attackers. I would love some attackers. I think we will get at least 1 in. But the fact that Tomiyasu, Calafiori, and Ben White all trained today, put it like this: if Ben White can get a solid week of training, I don't want to see Saliba even in the squad against Zagreb on Wednesday, kind of thing. Get that boy a rest, right?
Yeah.
Then you talk about Calafiori coming back in. You talk about Tomiyasu coming back in. I'm not being funny. We can start thinking about potentially rotating these guys. For example, again against Girona. Again, if those guys are fit, get them in for Girona. I don't know who we've got prior to Girona and after Girona, kind of thing. But we can start thinking about those things. And the fresher we keep our defenders, because of how high they play and because of how I suppose they're doing so many jobs, kind of thing. Our attackers, by virtue of the way we play, are going to just have no choice but to just keep shooting because the ball's going to be in and around the opposition area. Now, we need some quality attackers there, but I just think as long as we can keep our defenders fit, teams are they're gonna find it very hard to score against us. Let's just see if we can start getting a couple of goals, start knocking teams' confidence, kind of thing, knowing that I got to go up against Saliba and Gabriel, and they're fit and they're fresh and they're fit. It's gonna be a long day today. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm hoping will underpin our run, basically.
Yeah, what we need is to just forfeit the second leg of the Newcastle game and just go to Dubai for a week. That'd be lovely.
Do you know what? Apparently, because we're out of the cup against United, that week we have a whole week off, and we're planning to actually use that week during the FA Cup fixtures to go to Dubai, which
I don't
know if you remember, but I think it was one of the games before Christmas. and I spoke about the fact that there's not going to be any Dubai this year, and I said that a new signing basically gives us a shot in the arm kind of thing. How great
Yeah.
would it be if we had a couple of new signings to take to Dubai and for Mikel Arteta to do his devil magic on them in
Yeah.
Dubai again? They come
That'd be
back.
wonderful.
That'll be. I think that'll be the most ideal and optimum sort of preparation for the second half of for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Basically, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I want to backtrack just a little bit. You talked about a lot of our defenders coming back. I'm
Yeah.
very, very excited for Ben White to come back. I think Timber's been really, really good, but it's going to be nice for both of them to kind of be able to rotate. When it comes to left back, you brought up Calafiori, and I am high on Calafiori still. I think he's a very good player. He is not our starting left back. Our starting left back, our best left back,
right now,
is an 18-year-old midfielder named Myles Lewis-Skelly. And I would like to talk about the performance that guy had yesterday. Because you talk about a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
A motivated 18-year-old academy guy playing his ass off in a fucking North London derby. That's a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
A guy shithousing his way out at 18 years old, rattling Richarlison, getting a yellow as he walks off the pitch, and firing up the Emirates crowd.
Yeah.
That's a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
That's a guy that's going to and who would have fucking thought that like an 18-year-old academy guy is like what's going to, I think, truly get us over the edge. But they're not even like on that kind of aspect. Holy shit, what a fucking player Myles Lewis-Skelly is. 18 years old, and highest compliment I can give him is that he just does not play like it. He is so unbelievably press resistant. He has such a wonderful awareness. And Rice compared him to Moussa Dembele yesterday.
He's better than him. I was so offended when he said that. He's way better than him.
But I think just like the way he uses his body is just like so a player beyond his years. And it's so impressive to watch a guy like him to come into this team in such a big game. I mean, Arteta trusted him to come in when we were defending a lead against City, when we were down a man. Like, he definitely trusted him to start a North London derby, and what a shot in the arm he was. I can't say enough good things about that guy.
Yeah, no, you said it all pretty much. And this isn't... Lewis-Skelly is made for the big occasion. In 22-23, literally scored a last-minute winner for us against Man City in the FA Youth Cup semi-final. Now, we went on to lose the final pretty badly, but that's neither here nor there. He's a man for the big occasion. And I call him a man. I don't really want to do that, actually, to be fair to him. He's a guy for the big occasion, and it seeps into his play. He is... I think I spoke about before about release valves in our fullbacks, and while I don't want him to play left back long term, like genuinely, I don't want, like it would actually hurt me if he did. But it was always obvious that's where he was going to make his name for us initially because of how jam packed and how talented our midfield is at the minute. He was always going to play that, and playing left back for Arsenal in this current time, you're basically a midfielder anyway. But one of my favorite things about him is he looks like he's been with the group for a long time. Like, there wasn't any sort of bedding in period for him. He just came in just like, I understand what we're doing, and I understand your strengths, I understand your your weaknesses. I hope you guys understand mine, kind of thing. You do? Okay, cool, we can play. He'll give players the ball in certain situations, knowing that he's going to get it back. They give him the ball under pressure, knowing that he's going to fuck off any sort of pressure and whatever else. I don't think there is a limit on what I can put in him now, but I will say when we do eventually move him a bit further forward, I would love to see a lot more what he did for that Sterling chance, where he's playing the final pass, he's attracting 3-4 players to him, and then now it's a very easy, key pass for someone to try and get a shot off, kind of thing. But yeah, I'm just pleased with him, and nothing he's doing is surprising me, genuinely. And there's more to come. Like, there is so much more to come for that guy. I'm so excited for him in general. Like, he's just, amazing.
Absolutely. It's truly like great to see, especially like not having Saka in the team just like sucks. Like it's like really tough to watch Arsenal without Saka because he's just like such a life of this team. And so to have like kind of almost an heir apparent, even though he's going to be playing with Saka, of just like him and Wanyeri both coming in and like making their mark on the team this year has been very cool, and like the highlights of a very tough season for Arsenal so far. We talked a lot about Gabriel as an attacker. I would love for you to wax a little lyrical about him as a defender, because that guy is a fucking monster.
I mean, do I have to? I mean, like, just watch him. Like, I think the best thing about Gabriel is that,
Coach, if we answered any questions with, "Hey, just watch the game," then what the fuck are we doing here? What's our job?
I was saying just to pay him a compliment, because there are very few defenders, and Arsenal have been fortunate enough to have some really good defenders over the years. Even some of the ones that weren't like particularly big, like legends or household names, the likes of Koscielny. Like Koscielny was a great defender. Yeah, I mean, but we've had like Tony Adams, Sol Campbell, Ashley Cole, like just ridiculous, like PhD level defenders, you know. And Gabriel, I'm gonna say pretty much sits on that table. Both are sitting on that table, to be honest. But
absolutely,
one of the things that I love about him is that there was a pass he made yesterday where it was with his right foot and he sweeped it out to the wing. And I've been saying for about a year and a half now, and I want to say that his passing has become such a weapon for us that teams, when they do try to press us, we're fine with it going to the weaker centre back, if you like, on the ball, because he's just gonna split your press anyway, you know. So yeah, give it to Gabriel. Like, you're fucked anyway. Like, we know what's gonna happen with Saliba, but yeah, give it to Gabriel. We actually don't mind, and that's all come about purely from coaching. But obviously he's had the ability, but it's every year on year his passing has improved so much, and I think because of that, that's why there's even more confidence of him and Saliba pushing up even higher, because they can find those passes. His defending is very, very hard to compliment, because outside of Isak, since this partnership has come to fruition, there hasn't been a centre back. So there hasn't been a centre forward that's come up against us that's troubled us. Like, that's made them or him, you know, second guess anything. He's that good, and people know it. I mean, they asked Isak who's the hardest centre back pair that he's played against. He was like, the guys at Arsenal. Like, he answered before the guy could even finish. Savinho has been in the Premier League for not even a year. They asked him who the hardest team he's played against. He was like, Arsenal, kind of thing. And he's an attacker. Like, I don't know what else to say other than the fact that Erling Haaland absolutely hates playing against them. Like, there's nothing else to say, really.
No, 100%. Last thing on the game is that I know that he's not going to be at Arsenal very long, and I know that he for much longer, and I know that he's kind of just playing because he's a body.
Yeah.
But it's been really nice to have a little bit, and I feel like as I would love to have you speak for this as someone who's like actually been at the Emirates, as kind of a send off for Kieran Tierney. I think he's just like someone that's been disappointing, but not like his fault. Of just like the project kind of moved past him, his injuries kind of caught up to him and stuff like that. But I think he's just like such a loved player within the fan base and stuff like that. Like, he was touted as a future captain for so long, and it's been great to like get to see him as opposed to like, and like almost get to say your goodbyes. And it's like, yeah, fuck it. We get to like Kieran Tierney gets to play in his last North London derby, coming on at left wing. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Put it as Kieran Tierney in a different universe that has zero injury worries and is a rotational option with someone like Calafiori kind of thing. We don't even bother buying Zinchenko because he provides so much for us going forward, and he's great 1v1. And then we have the more sort of maverick left back in Calafiori, who can invert and do all the other crazy shit kind of thing. And he may be captain kind of thing. It's injuries suck because you end up having these split sort of universe where you think, something could have happened if he just stayed fit. You know what I mean? So he's loved like by the Arsenal. And one of my favorite ever social media posts ever is just him. I think it was an Instagram post where he literally just said the gun, and that was it. Like, he understands it. He gets what it is, and he's the perfect sort of player to have in a derby anyway. Like he's played in old friend armies and stuff. There's no sort of atmosphere that's going to intimidate him. I was at the game when he came on against Crystal Palace as well in the cup as well in the Carabao Cup as well. Huge reception for him. When he came on yesterday, huge reception again. He's just a genuinely loved player, and it's never ever felt once that he's just there to collect a check. Or he's just there he's given up kind of thing. I know for a fact. Do you remember when Arteta actually first came in and he was trying to get him to invert? Like,
yes.
Yeah, it didn't go the way he wanted it to, but he's never going to say no. He's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll give it a chance. Like, why not? Do you know what I mean? I'm here.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love about him. He's a trier, and he's just, yeah, man. He just seems like a solid guy. So yeah, I hope that he gets a move that he wants and that he stays fit. It's that simple. Like, love Kieran Tierney, man.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's pretty likely that he'll be heading back to Celtic, and that's pretty romantic. I love that. I do want to just say a little bit more about him, just because I care about him as a player so much. I feel like he's a player that made me fall in love with Arsenal again. When I like started watching more consistently around COVID and stuff, because he's just like such a ferocious competitor and seems like just such a wonderful dude. And also when there's like a few moments that I can point to that made me just fucking adore Kieran Tierney. And it's just like him walking into a game with his boots in a Tesco bag is just peak Kieran Tierney. I think it was after the City win in the FA Cup run. There's a picture of the entire team like in the dressing room celebrating, and KT's just flipping off the camera, and it's just like he just seems like a wonderful dude. I wish it worked out more for him. There's an alternate timeline where Kieran Tierney is the captain of Arsenal Football Club,
exactly.
And is one of the best left backs in the world, and it's a shame we don't live in that world. But I just want to show my appreciation to him and what could be one of his last games if he leaves this month, or could be one of his last games if he ends up leaving for free in the summer. But just want to shout out to Kieran Tierney. Let's keep moving forward. We got Villa this weekend. How are we feeling about that going? I'll tell you right now, I feel so much better about Villa than if you asked me 2 days ago. If you asked me 2 days ago, I'd be like, I don't care. I think we're going to lose. We suck. But now I think we're back.
Put it like this. There's a chance that it could go wrong, but I don't think it will. We put a lot in the last 2 games. We put a lot into them. Like yesterday was. I'm thinking. Put this. I feel like Declan Rice is almost like the avatar of this team in terms of if Declan Rice is fit, then everything's okay. In that regard. And yesterday, he ran his socks off. Apart from being the best midfielder on the pitch, hands down, pretty much. I want to say. He dominated them, and I really feel like our fortunes hinge on just how well Declan Rice can recover between now and Saturday. But to be honest, I actually kind of want to talk about what he done yesterday as well. But in general, like, he was just fantastic yesterday, and I think one of the key things is that he played so many different roles yesterday that a lot of people might not realize, but he did so many things for us physically, but technically as well. You know, I think he probably had about 2 good chances himself, but also the fact that he created some as well. He created that one for Trossard as well. He was always a spare man. He was always an option there in space. And I say all that to say that on Saturday, all those things are going to be so key. They're going to be so key. I think physically, him and Onana are going to have to battle it out. But also, he's going to have to monitor Morgan Rogers as well. And Morgan Rogers had a good game against us in the corresponding fixture at Villa Park. And I'm thinking, I hope he doesn't, but I'm thinking potentially he might play a double pivot and just say, you know what, Rice, you're going to sit today next to number 5, just to make sure that we're solid and we can move up the pitch when we need to, kind of thing. But we can't allow Morgan Rogers to essentially have the freedom of midfield against number 5. It won't end well.
It didn't end well last time. We won the game, but like Morgan Rogers skinned him.
Yeah, he skinned both of them. It was crazy. So I think he's coming back into physical sort of peak conditioning, which is good. So that'll be a good matchup. But as long as we can generally dominate the midfield, like Villa are not good defensively. I do wish we had Saka because I just feel like with Saka, regardless of what form we're in, we've always got a chance, and he loves playing against Villa. So yeah, but I'm feeling good for the weekend. I'm feeling good. I feel like the Derby win is the shot in the arm. It's technically our Dubai, if you like,
Yeah.
and that if we win against Villa, Mitch, I will not lie to you. Gabby might not want to hear this, but not only is the title back on, I'm going to say we're favourites. So yeah, no, genuinely. So I mean, Liverpool have got Brentford this weekend, and we know what Brentford are like. Even though we
Yeah.
beat them, so and they're going to the G Tech as well. So yeah, that's what I'm feeling with that. Let's go for Villa, man. Let's give it to them, man.
Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned just like not having Saka sucks. I think we just this team has to do their best to tread water until
Mhm.
he's back.
Yeah,
Once Saka's back, we can do anything.
yeah,
Until then, we have a very good team around him. Don't let anyone tell you different.
of
These
course.
are very talented soccer players. There's a reason that we're in the position that we are because as much as the last month has sucked, we're still in second. We're still
Yeah.
in striking distance. And we're not going up against like Liverpool have been very, very good. I do think that they are catchable
Oh yeah.
in the way that like City haven't seemed in the last few years. You
Mhm.
know, um, we talked about a shot in the arm of potential transfers. So I want to end the show by talking about that for a little bit.
Mm.
Um, the biggest news this week was not about an attacker. It was about a defensive midfielder in the summer of Zubimendi, which would be lovely if
Mm.
he ever decides to leave Spain. I'm going to hold out until I see him holding the jersey.
Mhm.
But let's talk about January specifically,
Mm.
because this window is just so difficult in
Mhm.
general. The only players that are going to be available in January are players that are excess parts at their club.
Mhm.
And I think it just makes it so much harder when you're a team like Arsenal that wants to build a sustaining model,
Mhm.
is you don't want to buy Trossards and Jorginhos every year. You
Yeah.
want to do that when you need it. Um, do you feel like we absolutely need it right this second? I feel like we probably do in terms of an
Mhm.
attacker. And then also, who do you think is realistic right now? Because, you know, I've heard names like Sesko, but Sesko didn't want to leave in the summer. I
Mhm.
don't see him wanting to leave in January. Uh, what are some names that you've seen or you think of that like are potential targets that would genuinely be available right now for Arsenal?
So the Sheshko stuff, yeah, got rebuffed by his agent. It's not happening. My one concern with Sheshko is he was concerned about having to compete with Kai Havertz, and that really didn't. That rubbed me the wrong way, to be honest. But at the same time, you could flip it and say he feels as if he's already better than him. So he's like, why am I competing with him, kind of thing. But it's like, if you feel that way, come and show it, then come and prove it, kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, but Sheshko's not happening in January. Um, but some positive news, I suppose. Speaking of Brentford, if we can probably do a deal after they play Liverpool, that would be great. But basically, Thomas Frank's language has changed a lot in the last week. It's gone from there is absolutely no chance of these guys being of Mbeumo being
Um,
sold or Wissa being
yeah,
sold.
I was assuming you were talking about the oldest looking 24-year-old of all time, Brian
Yeah,
Mbeumo.
yeah. He's spoken about Wissa as well. To be honest, it's going to take a lot of money for these guys to move. And whenever managers say that, just know that they've had a tap on the shoulder from the chairman to say, look, teams are quoting us these numbers. We might have to think about, doing something, kind of thing. So I personally think it's genuinely possible to get in Mbeumo in January. I think it's more than possible to be honest. I mean, no disrespect to Brentford, but it's fucking Brentford, man. Like, throw them 50 million and see what happens. Like, they're not getting relegated. They can reinvest into another great guy from that nobody is gonna know, kind of thing, and go
It's
from
their
there.
model. Like
Yeah.
they're built on this. So
So yeah,
like
like it's not going to affect their ambitions too much. Genuinely, they will find somebody else, and they're not going to let go of both of them in January. But I definitely do feel like one of them is probably going to shake loose, and I hope it's Mbeumo to Arsenal. They'll talk about
I would
Wissa going to
love
potentially,
Mbeumo.
yeah, Wissa going to Forest potentially, but yeah, I trust us to do what's necessary if we can actually strike a deal. Um, somebody else that I'm looking at, and I know some people are like, no, why are we doing this thing again? Blah blah blah. But Rashford stuff with him going abroad has gone quiet, and I'll be honest with you, United are not going to get a whole lot of money for him at all. They're just not going to. They can say what they can say what they like, but everyone knows that United are broken and need money. Rashford will go for under 50 million, 100%. He will go for under 50 million, and if he wants to play football, he's going to have to take a pay cut, basically. Like, no one's going to take him on the wages that he's on right now. So
100%.
So that's a conversation for him. And I feel like you can talk about Arsenal being a rehabilitation centre for washed players, whatever else, but I'm not being funny. Like, Marcus Rashford is still one of the best forwards around. United is a shit show, right? United is just a shit show. And you give Marcus Rashford an environment where he can play, where he's just going to be able to get onto the end of things, create his own shot kind of thing. We do that enough already at Arsenal, just that the quality of our shot takers is not great right now. Like, Rashford, you've watched Rashford, Mitch, you've watched Rashford enough times. Do you think in our current setup, let's just say on Wednesday, with the looks that some of our players are getting, do you think he doesn't walk away with at least one goal yesterday?
Yeah, I think Rashford's a player that operates very well when he has a lot of space in front of him.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he would get that at Arsenal as much. But like if he's in Trossard's position for Trossard's goal,
yeah,
he puts it away.
yeah,
100%. That's Rashford time
yeah,
right there. The problem is what we were talking about when we were talking about that goal. We just don't see that very often from
yeah.
Arsenal. There's a lot more opportunities where we are holding the ball for a long amount of time and trying to create chances in there. And I don't know if Rashford's that effective in that kind of situation.
So,
And also, I like it feels like the Sterling thing a little bit of just trying to get a body in when like just to like get somebody as opposed to like someone who's just like genuinely going to make it in. And obviously Sterling is very low risk. He's on loan. Like it's not a big deal. He most likely will just go back to Chelsea at the end of the season and then he's their problem. And he was perfectly okay for us. But Rashford, if you're talking about a purchase, if the conditions would have to be right for a lot of people to get behind it, I think. I also don't think I can see Rashford doing it. Like he wants to move to go like change his career and stuff. He seems like a guy that is very focused on legacy, and I don't think that he would throw legacy away. I think there's a reason why you keep seeing rumors of him going to Dortmund or PSG because he doesn't want to be viewed by United fans as leaving on like nasty terms
he's
by
hated
going
to a
to
man.
Arsenal.
He's hated to
What?
a man. He's hated. Like, he doesn't have to worry about being viewed as one way or another because whatever legacy he has left at United, all they see is the chains and him going to basketball games when he's injured and shit like that. All of that shit doesn't matter anymore. So let's say even if he does, let's say he goes to Arsenal kind of thing, he can't get any lower in their estimations. Trust me on that. Like they might call him a snake, call him a juice, whatever else, but they're calling him worse when he was playing for United.
That's fair. Yeah.
So there's that. But no, I'm with you. Like in terms of when we're playing against low blocks, essentially, it might be a problem. But even against low blocks, we always get we get good looks. And for everything else, Rashford off both feet is still a very good finisher. He very much is so. And I don't like the move, but for what it could do for us short term, potentially, especially until when Saka gets back, I personally think it's worth the risk. United need money. We could easily, I don't know exactly how these things work, but sometimes when you loan a player, there's a loan fee as well. We could throw United a £10 million loan fee. They'll take that.
We can't do a loan. Like we're not allowed to because we have
because,
two Premier League loans right now.
Well. Yeah.
Because Neto and Sterling are both on loan from Premier League teams, so we can't get a loan. If we did something with United or Rashford, it would have to be a permanent transfer.
Yeah. Okay. So that changes things a little bit for me because I was thinking, while a purchase wouldn't be ideal, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I think in a loan could be possible. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So it has to be a loan.
He's still only 27. I thought he was 32.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, he's been around forever, and like both him and Sterling, I think, are similar cases where like they've played a shit ton of minutes to be like their ages they are and kind of like declining. But yeah, man, I guess seeing Rashford's 27 has changed my view a little bit. Where it's just like, okay, I'm a little bit more open to this. if like the conditions are right.
Yeah,
It's almost the opposite of the Trossard transfer, but where like I thought straight up thought Trossard was 24, and
mm,
then we were signing him like he's 28. What the
yeah, yeah,
fuck?
yeah, exactly that. And then if we're looking abroad, Barcola's fallen out of favor with Enrique.
Ooh,
Um,
Barcola would be. That's not a win now signing. That's a fucking signing. That's a
yeah,
starter right there.
yeah. So and they've just bought Cravadonna. So again, but the only thing is
Is
with
that
that is that
confirmed? They bought it.
yeah, so they've
Oh
agreed
my
terms. The
god.
only thing is with that is that they've let Colin Moani go. So them letting go of
Yeah.
two bodies, especially with them trying to win the Champions League, and they essentially need to beat City to have a chance of making the top 24. That one could be difficult, but again, the fact that he's fallen out of favor, you never know. You
Yeah.
actually never know. Zagova apparently has agreed to go to Napoli to essentially replace Kvaratskhelia, but he's left-footed and he's a lovely player. I would love him, but yeah, he looks like he's Napoli bound. If we're talking actual strikers, it's bleak, man. I don't know, like I don't know what options there is there. So yeah, if we're talking order of priority of who I would like, I personally think Barcola would be the one.
Absolutely.
So not what, so it would be Mbeumo, then Barcola, then Rashford. But I'm taking. If you offer me two of the three and I have to do it blindfolded, I'm literally just closing my eyes saying I'll take those. I wouldn't care. I actually wouldn't care, kind of thing. So yeah, that's where I'm at of it.
Yeah, fair enough. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We're halfway through the window, but I feel like we haven't seen enough activity to know. Like
Mhm.
Arteta's comments make me think that we are genuinely trying to find a dealer
Yeah,
or something like that. But um, January's tough. Where like they should almost get rid of this fucking window because it's kind of a waste of time.
yeah. There was a great
Uh,
Frenchman that said that we should do that, but they called him crazy. But he went unbeaten, so they don't know shit. So
does that mean I'm closer to getting to him on your rankings?
absolutely not. Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry.
uh, Well, I think that's where we're going to end it. I'm not any closer at the beginning of the hour than I was at the beginning from moving up to number 6 on Coach's White Person rankings. Thank you all for listening. It's been lovely to be back with you all talking about Arsenal and talking about an Arsenal win. It just makes me very happy. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials across our channels. You can follow me on Blue Sky to see me talking about Arsenal. You can't find me on Twitter anymore. Well, you can find me, but I'm just not posting anything there anymore.
Hell
Coach, where
fat.
can people find you?
Yeah. Blue Sky, Lobrucci, Twitter. I literally just retweet SPS stuff on there mostly. But yeah, same at Lobrucci, and yeah, the socials, Shirtless Plantain Show across everywhere. But apparently, you guys are losing TikTok, so we might not be posting on TikTok anymore.
I guess we're moving to Red Note.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've been hearing this Red Note shit. I'm not handing over my data to China. I'm just not doing that.
um, you can find me at Blue Sky at Mitch Biotter. Thank you all for listening, and peace.
Peace.
Hey folks, this is Dean from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.